Welcome back, folks, to our channel, where you go before you travel. Today, we're diving into a list of cities in the USA that you might want to think twice about visiting. Now, I'm all about positivity, but sometimes you gotta keep it real. We're talking about places that might not be the best for your next vacation for a whole bunch of reasons. Maybe they're not the safest, or maybe there just isn't a lot to do. Look, I love a good challenge as much as the next guy, but when it comes to traveling, who wants to end up in a place where the highlight is just trying to find a decent cup of coffee? So buckle up, because we're about to take a look at 10 cities in the United States that you might want to skip on your next trip. Let's get started. First up, we're heading to the Midwest, to a city once known as a powerhouse of American industry, Gary, Indiana. Now, Gary has a rich history, no doubt about it. This is where the Jackson 5 got their start, and it played a huge role in the steel industry. But unfortunately, Gary has fallen on hard times. We're talking high crime rates, a struggling economy, and a lot of abandoned buildings. It's a tough situation, and it's definitely not the kind of place you want to be wandering around in after dark, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, there are good people in Gary who are working hard to turn things around, but for tourists looking for a fun and safe vacation, it's probably best to steer clear for now. Now, I'm all about finding hidden gems, but even I gotta admit, Gary doesn't have a whole lot to offer tourists right now. Sure, you can visit the Jackson 5's childhood home, which is pretty cool, but beyond that, there's not a ton to see or do. And listen, I'm all about supporting local businesses, but when the options are limited and the safety concerns are real, it's hard to recommend spending your hard-earned vacation time and money in a place like Gary. It's sad to see a city with so much potential struggling, but hopefully things will turn around for Gary in the future. Next up, we're heading east to Camden, New Jersey, a city that's sadly become synonymous with crime. Camden has struggled for decades with poverty, unemployment, and some of the highest crime rates in the country. It's a dangerous combination, and it makes it really hard to recommend Camden as a tourist destination. I mean, who wants to spend their vacation worrying about their safety? It's a shame, because Camden is located right across the Delaware River from Philadelphia, which is an awesome city with so much history and culture. But unfortunately, Camden hasn't been able to shake its reputation as a dangerous place, and it's just not a place you want to be caught slipping, you know? Now, I'm always down to give credit where credit's due, and Camden does have a few bright spots. The Adventure Aquarium is pretty cool, and the waterfront area has some potential, but overall, there just isn't a lot to see or do in Camden, especially compared to nearby cities like Philly. And when you factor in the high crime rates and the lack of economic opportunities, it's understandable why many people choose to avoid Camden altogether. It's a tough situation, and it's going to take a lot of work to turn things around. Hopefully one day Camden can shed its negative image and become a thriving city once again. Alright, coming in at number 3, we've got Stockton, California. Now, Stockton has been going through some tough times, and it's no secret, we're talking serious economic challenges, and unfortunately that's led to a higher crime rate than you'd probably want to deal with on vacation. Listen, I love California, but I gotta be real with you guys. You're probably better off spending your hard-earned cash and precious vacation time in places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, you know, those iconic California spots. Those cities have got it all: beaches, mountains, Hollywood, you name it. Plus, you can't beat the vibes in those places. Stockton, on the other hand, well, it's just not there yet. Look, I'm all about giving credit where credit's due. Stockton is trying to make a comeback, but it's a long road ahead. For now, you might want to think twice before booking that trip. Another thing to keep in mind about Stockton is that it's not exactly a tourist hotspot. I'm talking about those must-see landmarks, those bucket list attractions, the kind of stuff that makes you say, "Whoa, I gotta see that." Stockton's got some history, sure, but it's not exactly Disneyland, you know? And let's be real, who wants to spend their vacation in a place that doesn't have those Instagram-worthy spots? You go to California to experience the California dream, right? Think Hollywood Walk of Fame, the Golden Gate Bridge, those epic national parks. That's the California I know and love. So, while Stockton might have some hidden gems, it's just not on the same level as those other California destinations. If you're looking for that classic California experience, you're better off looking elsewhere. Next up, we're heading to Bakersfield, California. Now, Bakersfield is a bit of a hidden gem, or at least that's what some people say. But let's be real, it's not exactly a place that screams vacation destination. Don't get me wrong, Bakersfield has its own charm, but it's more of a pit stop on your way to somewhere else, you know? Like, If you're driving from Los Angeles to Yosemite, maybe you stop for gas and a burger. But to spend your whole vacation there? I'm not so sure. There are just so many other incredible places in California that offer way more in terms of things to see and do. Think about it. Disneyland, Hollywood, beaches, mountains. California has it all. Bakersfield, on the other hand, well, it's just not on the same level. Now, I'm all for giving every place a fair shot, but I gotta be honest with you guys. Bakersfield has a bit of an air quality problem. And when I say a bit, I mean it can get pretty bad, especially during the summer months. We're talking about that thick smog hanging in the air, making it hard to breathe and just generally unpleasant to be outside. And who wants to spend their vacation stuck inside, right? Listen, I'm all about having fun and enjoying life, but I also care about my health. And breathing in all that smog is just not my idea of a good time. There are so many other places in California where you can enjoy fresh air and sunshine. So if you're looking for a healthy and happy vacation, you might want to give Bakersfield a pass. Alright, next up on our list we're heading to Youngstown, Ohio. Now, Youngstown has a special place in American history. It was a booming steel town back in the day, a real symbol of American industry and grit. But times have changed, and unfortunately Youngstown has fallen on hard times. The decline of the steel industry hit this city hard, and it's been struggling to recover ever since. We're talking about high unemployment, poverty, and a general lack of opportunity. It's tough to see a city with such a proud past going through such a difficult present. Now I'm all about rooting for the underdog, and I truly hope Youngstown can turn things around. But for now, it's just not the kind of place you want to visit on vacation. Look, I'm all for exploring new places and discovering hidden gems, but when it comes to vacation destinations, you want a place that's got it all: exciting attractions, delicious food, vibrant culture, the works. And Youngstown, well, it's just not there yet. It's got some historical sites and museums, but it's not exactly a tourist mecca. You're not going to find those world-famous landmarks or those Instagram-worthy views. And let's be real, who wants to spend their precious vacation time in a place that doesn't have those brag-worthy moments? Listen, I'm all about keeping it real with you guys. Youngstown has its heart in the right place, but it's just not the kind of place you go to for a fun and exciting vacation. There are just so many other amazing destinations out there that offer a whole lot more. Alright guys, we're halfway through our list of U.S. cities to think twice about visiting. Number 6, St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis has the iconic Gateway Arch, and Busch Stadium is great for baseball, but it faces high crime rates in some areas. Plus, economic struggles impact quality of life. Consider these factors when planning your trip. Now I'm all about adventure and exploring new places, but not at the expense of safety. And unfortunately, St. Louis has a reputation for crime, particularly in certain neighborhoods. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the stories I've heard. Look, I'm not trying to scare anyone off, but it's important to be aware of the risks. You don't want to be walking around with your head in the clouds, oblivious to your surroundings. It's always better to be safe than sorry, right? So, if you do decide to visit St. Louis, make sure you do your research and stay in well-lit, populated areas, especially at night. And hey, maybe consider traveling with a group for added safety. Remember, a little precaution can go a long way in ensuring a smooth and enjoyable trip. Next up on our list at number 7 is El Paso, Texas. Located right on the border of Texas and Mexico, El Paso has a unique blend of cultures and some pretty stunning desert landscapes. Plus, who doesn't love some good Tex-Mex food, am I right? But before you pack your bags and head down south, there are a few things you might want to consider. El Paso, like some other cities on our list, has been facing some economic challenges. This can mean fewer job opportunities for locals and a higher poverty rate. Now I'm all for supporting local businesses and experiencing different cultures, but it's important to be aware of the economic realities of a place before you visit. Now I know what you're thinking, Mr. Beast, why are you always talking about safety? But hey, it's super important, especially when you're traveling to a new place. El Paso, being a border city unfortunately, has a reputation for drug trafficking and cartel activity, and that's not something to take lightly, guys. Look, I'm not saying you're guaranteed to run into trouble in El Paso, but it's always better to be informed and take precautions. Be aware of your surroundings, avoid risky areas, and trust your gut instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Coming in at number 8 is Lubbock, Texas. Now, Lubbock might not be the first place that pops into your head when planning a vacation, and there's a reason for that. It's known for being, well, a little light on tourist attractions. Don't get me wrong, it's got its charm, but it's not exactly a bustling metropolis packed with things to see and do. Lubbock is also dealing with some economic challenges, which can impact the overall quality of life for its residents. Think fewer job opportunities, a lower median income, and all that good stuff? Now, I'm all for exploring off-the-beaten-path destinations, but it's important to be realistic about what you're looking for in a trip. Look, I'm all about finding hidden gems and supporting local businesses, but Lubbock's lack of major tourist attractions might leave you feeling a little, well, bored. If you're someone who thrives on excitement and adventure, Lubbock might not be the best fit for your next getaway. Now, I'm sure there are some cool things to do in Lubbock, you might just have to dig a little deeper to find them. But if you're looking for a city that's going to wow you with its sights and attractions, Lubbock might not live up to your expectations. Hey, maybe they'll build a giant ball of yarn or something someday. Until then, you might want to consider your options. Alright guys, we're on to number 9 on our list of U.S. cities you might want to reconsider visiting. Detroit, Michigan. Detroit has a rich history and a special place in American culture. This is where Motown was born, and the Cars, man, the Cars. But let's be real, Detroit's seen better days. Years of economic decline have taken their toll. It's not the safest place for tourists. Detroit's got potential, but it's got a long way to go. Now, I don't want to paint an entirely bleak picture. Detroit's got a lot going for it, like its incredible music scene, its iconic architecture, and its die-hard sports fans. Plus, there are some really cool museums and historical sites worth checking out. And like I said, there are people working tirelessly to bring Detroit back to its former glory. There are some really cool revitalization projects happening downtown, and new businesses are popping up all the time. But the reality is, change takes time, and Detroit's problems are deeply rooted. It's going to take a whole lot more than a few trendy coffee shops and craft breweries to turn things around completely. So, while I'm hopeful for Detroit's future, I wouldn't recommend it as a top tourist destination just yet. Maybe in a few years, but for now, proceed with caution. And finally, we've arrived at number 10 on our list, Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore is often called Charm City, and for good reason. It's got a rich history and a beautiful harbor. But beneath the surface, Baltimore faces serious challenges. Crime is a major concern in certain neighborhoods. It's a real shame because Baltimore has so much to offer. World-class museums and the National Aquarium, plus Fort McHenry, the birthplace of the Star-Spangled Banner. It's like a tale of two cities, beauty alongside poverty and crime. So, what's the verdict on Baltimore? Well, it's complicated. On the one hand, there's a lot to see and do, and you can definitely have a great time if you're careful and plan your trip strategically. Stick to the safer areas like the Inner Harbor, Fells Point, and Harbor East, and you'll likely have a positive experience. These areas are packed with restaurants, shops, and attractions, and they offer a taste of Baltimore's vibrant culture. But if you're looking for a completely worry-free vacation, Baltimore might not be the best choice right now. The crime rates are a real concern, and it's important to be aware of your surroundings at all times. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to visit Baltimore is a personal one. Weigh the pros and cons, do your research, and decide if it's the right fit for you. And that's a wrap on our list of 10 U.S. cities you might want to skip on your next trip. Remember guys, this isn't about bashing these cities. It's about being real and giving you the information you need to make informed decisions about your travel plans. Every city has its ups and downs, and these places definitely have their share of challenges. But that doesn't mean they're beyond hope. I truly believe in the power of communities to overcome adversity, and I'm hopeful that these cities will find their way back to prosperity. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more content. Let us know in the comments if there are any other cities you think should be on this list. See you next time.